Hiya, Charlotte. Thank you so much for your time today, in addition to everything else you do for Home Start Manchester. So thanks so much for agreeing to this. So you've obviously shared previously, because you were in our 20th anniversary film, and shared really openly your story. So please don't feel you need to go into any detail, just whatever you feel comfortable with. But you received home visiting support from Home Start Manchester some time ago. And I suppose I'd just really love to hear what was going on for you at that time. Why did you access Home Start? How did, what was involved in the support and how it helped you, really?
So at the time when I accessed Home Start, I was under CAPS doing a parenting group and had other support because I just felt like a really rubbish mum. And then after I did a few sessions with them and a parenting group, they referred me to Home Start because I was just really struggling to get out of the house because of my anxiety, but wanting to be a good mum, wanting to do everything for Kalai, my son. They just thought Home Start would be a great thing for me at the time, which it really was. Receiving the help from Home Start opened up so many opportunities for both me and my son. One of my things as a parent was I felt rubbish because I just never went to parent groups. I wanted to go, but my anxiety, the pressures that other parents might hold and the views they might hold was just too much. Was I doing everything right? But with the help from my Home Start volunteer, I got to a parent group, went back to the parent groups, kept going back to the parent groups, and then started going to the parent groups by myself, which I just never thought I could do. And then that gave me the confidence and the pride that I was seeing in my son enjoying it. It was just like an overwhelming lot of emotions in the most positive of way that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have the help from Home Start. I could only imagine the social isolation that I would have been in and would have put my son in if I didn't have the help, to the point where I was so anxious about sending him to nursery because he was coming up to 2. I thought that that's the right thing to do, but I don't know. I didn't need to do it, but I wanted to do it to help him with his socialising. And my Home Start volunteer at the time gave me the confidence to actually put him in, apply for nursery, and then it was the best decision that I've made. And again, it wouldn't have happened without the Home Start volunteer. And it made him progress, or it just helped him shine in so many different ways with his socialising, with his speech, just everything. And then that helped me. It also then helped me get out of the house because every day I was taking him to nursery. So that meant every day I was getting out of the house. So it was just on help. And I really am so grateful for the help that
Thank you. We talk a lot at Home Start, don't we, about the approach, like that it's very gentle and relationship based and trust based. And the fact that it's a volunteer that's usually a parent themselves, it feels like less threatening. Was that your experience? Because I know you have had quite a lot of support from different services in the past. And what do you think it was about Home Start and your volunteer particular that made you trust them and give things a go that you were so frightened of?
It's because they're another parent. They're not a professional, so it doesn't feel like you're going to get judged for maybe anything that you say that you might have, I don't know, a profession. When you, as a new parent, and you're talking to a professional, you have to make sure you're ticking all the boxes. When you're talking to another parent, you can express how hard it is, and you can say parenting is really hard. It's like sometimes I want to bang my head against a wall, but you feel like if you say that to a professional, that automatically then it's going to be like you can't manage. So it's just super reassuring that you can speak to other parents who have been through the same thing and just know that there's going to be no judgment at the end of it. There's just going to be support. There's just going to be listening. There's going to be recognition. It is just a completely different... Sorry, I'm trying to find the right word.
It's all right. You've articulated it perfectly. You really are. Thank you. Obviously, when support ended with Home Start, you went on to do some brilliant things. One of the things we talk about a lot at Home Start is we pride ourselves on not limiting the length of time that families have support. And sometimes the response to that is, well, do families not start to depend on you? And I will say no, because actually all we're doing is helping families to see that they've got everything they need inside. They just don't see it. And so our approach is very empowering and therefore sustaining. So we get very few families coming back in for support. So tell me a little bit, because we bumped into each other, didn't we, after support had ended. Tell me a little bit about how having Home Start support inspired you and what you did next.
So when Home Start was ending, funnily enough, you say about keeping them until they're ready thing. That is something that happened to me. So my Home Start experience was due to end, but both me and my Home Start volunteer was slightly unsure just in terms of what my next plans were. So Home Start did a referral to a parenting group who would then kind of help me with sorry.
Was this a parenting group for you, or is this when you discovered EPEC?
Yeah, so it was, they referred me to the CAPS Incredible Years group because it's a referral only group.
Okay.
But I was doing really well with Home Start. Sorry, I know what I was going to say now. So Home Start was ending because I was doing really well in terms of I was getting out, I was taking him to nursery, he was socialising, I felt like I was being a good enough parent, but I was just struggling still with some of the challenges that toddlers have, behavioural issues, tantrums. So to continue that support, Home Start did a referral to the CAPS Incredible Years group who help with managing tantrums, effective limit settings. And then from there, I kind of felt like I could manage as a parent. And then I kind of reflected back on everything of how I got to that point of where feeling like a good enough parent, and realised that that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to help other parents get to that point of feeling like a good enough parent.
Can I just say, after 20 years in Home Start, you've just given me goosebumps again, which is probably why I'm still around.
So I just wanted to help other parents feel like a good enough parent and see the happiness that children can bring and parents can bring to the child. So looking back, the biggest lot of support I had or felt like I had, I gained from Home Start, which was the getting out, taking Kalai out, socialising, interacting with other people. And that's just what I want. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to help other parents be able to get out. And if there is an issue, let's work on the issue. I think prevention is so much better than a cure, to say. And that's what Home Start taught me, that early prevention is the best kind of outcome for both parent and child. So
absolutely,
that's where I want to work towards. So after reflecting, I signed up to be a parent group leader for EPEC, Empowering Parents, Empowering Communities. Had the training for that and then run a term, finished a whole term, and then I decided to go for my level 3 in health and social care. So I'm currently studying for my level 3 in health and social care, aiming for an A star, and that's purely because at the time of reflection, my granddad was still around and I told him what my plans were, which was I wanted to go and help parents. This is what I wanted to do. That's what he knew. So I'm going for an A star in that because sadly he has passed during that time. But to make him proud, to show him my achievement, to show him I can do it, that's what I'm doing. So I've gone for a level 3 in health and social care, and then I'm also going to go for my level 3 teaching assistant, so then I could possibly help children in schools as well as parents in the community as well.
Amazing. That's amazing. So our paths crossed again, didn't they, at a volunteering workshop where you were presenting on your experience delivering EPEC, which was just inspirational. And at a similar time, the Home Start Manchester Board of Trustees were exploring ways that they could bring lived experienced experts by experience trustees onto the board without it feeling like it was a tick box or tokenistic, but also recognising that there needed to be support and mechanisms in place to make sure that whoever we brought on board would feel able to be an equitable member of that board, and that their input is as valid as everybody else's, but also understand and get the heads round governance and what can often be really complicated. So you've recently become a trustee, you've been to a few meetings, and I obviously sold the role well, because you were like, yes, I definitely want to do that. We had some really honest conversations, didn't we, around our anxieties about this being new to us, but your anxieties as well. And together with what you'd fed back, we shaped like a role description, which included support that we'd put in place for you as well. So I've just been blown away already, Charlotte, by how comfortable and confident you appear in meetings, that you've really contributed some valuable insights. You've asked really informed questions. And I suppose from my perspective, it'd be really good to know what's enabled that, what things have we put in place, or what do you feel we are as a board that means that you can share an input?
Well, when I first joined, I was really apprehensive, and that's partly because, one, I'd never done anything like this before, and also from being a mum and not working, then going into something like this, it just was a whole anxious time. But what settled that is, one, everybody's so friendly, they're open, they're honest. From the meetings that I've been in, if there's any struggles, you can just say happily, can you explain please? And they will, which can be quite nerve-wracking to do, but everybody's just so friendly and so helping. So it makes it, with everybody being so comfortable and with everybody being so friendly, it makes it a comfortable environment where you feel encouraged to share your views and opinions in the areas that are beneficial, but also in the areas that aren't in my forte. So I could have outsider knowledge type of thing, or just my own views or opinions are still appreciated and recognised when shared in areas that I'm not particularly involved in.
That's great. And some of the things we've put in place, so we've buddied you a little bit with one of our trustees, haven't we? And we've also, in the early days, I've met with you before meetings to talk through the agenda and the reports and where maybe you want to have some input or questioning. Has that been helpful? Has that been part of helping you feel confident and prepared, do you think?
Oh yeah, no, it's been extremely helpful to have the time before meetings to go over any questions and just to settle nerves as well, because it can be anxious walking into a boardroom with 11 other people. So to get there a bit earlier, just to have a little friendly conversation, catch up on anything that you might not understand, it's really helpful. And then the buddying system has been amazing. She's been so helpful, from even writing a chart from where people were sitting and the names, so I could understand the names and learn people's names, to explaining abbreviations. It's been such an immense help just to understand what's going on, where you are, your surroundings, without being forced to, you're not forced to have to say anything, you're not forced to give an opinion. You can just sit there and take everything in and make sure you understand. And if you don't, it's perfectly okay to put your hand up and say, can you explain? And there will be somebody there who will be happy to.
That's really good to hear. That's really good. And obviously we had at the last meeting a really rich debate around ethical fundraising that you got right stuck in there with your view, which was just great for me to sit back and listen to this debate. It was great. And obviously we're going through a strategic review process at the moment, and we want to consult families and volunteers, and we're really grateful that you're going to get involved in helping us think about how can we do that in a meaningful way. But from my perspective, I think it's just so good to have you on board. It doesn't feel like a tick box. I'm really excited about what you've got to bring and what we can learn from you over the next 3 years. And also really excited to see where you go in your career as well and how we can support with that. So I really feel privileged to have you on board. Is there anything else that you wanted to say, Charlotte, that I've not asked or covered?
The other thing I want to get across as well is that because when you said about the giving your opinions, it's really nice because there's a diverse in age, it's really nice to hear opinions from different age ranges and how they can both benefit each other. Because I think I'm possibly one of the youngest, if not the youngest, on the board.
Yes. Yeah.
So my views could be more modern.
Yeah.
So it's nice hearing different types of views and them all being accepted.
And some learning for you in there around, I've not thought about it like that. And that's the idea of
up the opportunities for vice versa.
Absolutely. And we've got, as trustee boards go, we've got quite a young board. But even so, you are definitely, don't rub it in, but you are definitely the youngest. But I agree. And I think it's not just age, is it? I think a strong board is a board that's really diverse in cultural background and professional experience, and we're really lucky in that respect. But we're not perfectly representative, but it's on the radar to work on that. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.